want to show you how to use the Color Me Magic Transfer paper. This is such a cool technique, and it couldn't be any easier to transfer onto polymer clay, and it also does work on other substrates. We've used it on wood and fabric. You just have to use different mediums for that, such as glue or something sticky. So that is a possibility as well. So it can be used for mixed media applications. But today we are going to use it on polymer clay. And to give you an idea, it starts off the color of the clay. Obviously, you would condition your clay and roll it into a flat sheet. Well, let me say this. The one super advantage of the Color Me Magic Transfer paper is that it can go around a piece of clay. It doesn't have to be flat. So today I'm going to show you flat, but you can bend it to go around a bead or pendant or something like that. And that's the advantage of the Magic Transfer paper. Because with some of the other transfer papers on the market, you cannot bend it, it will crack. So let me get started. We're going to start, actually here are a few pieces. Let's talk about those first. These have been printed with the Color Me Magic Transfer paper onto the clay. This one was done on white clay. And then I used some brush markers. I happen to use this brand Chromatics, and it has a brush tip. Let me show you those. You just have to experiment with different markers to see what works and what doesn't work. And these Chromatics work really nice, and they've got a brush marker side, and that's the side you want to use. That's what works best to color things in. So you can start with a lighter clay, such as white or yellow or ecru or whatever, and transfer it on there and then color it in any way you want. Kind of like the adult coloring books, but for functional items. So that's what makes it really cool too. So here are a couple items. Like I said, this was done on actually a blue turquoise clay. So you can do it on other colors. It doesn't have to be super, super light. However, you're going to get a different look. So just experiment. That's what I always recommend. Experiment to find things you like. And these are some other ideas too. You can use multiple designs on one piece, because these are going to be earrings. You know, you'll see all the sides. So I've used one of the poppy gardens and one of the crackle finish. And when these go together, they'll just be really unique earrings. So think about that. You can use all kinds of different designs together. So you want to start out with your conditioned clay. And here is the Snails in the Garden Color Me Magic Transfer, and it's pretty much to the size, but I want to cut it as best to the size as I can. So you just cut it with regular scissors, and you can you can actually lay this on top of to line it up. That's actually a good way to do it, and that way you can get in the design part and the design elements you want to get in there. Okay, so once you have that, flip it back over. I'm working on a piece of wax paper, and the reason why I'm doing that is because it's just not as messy if you do work on something like that. So just do your best to cut it out. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the thing is, you want to be able to use all these pieces, so save them. And so that's why I like to cut it out almost to the size that I want. And then I have lots of extras too that are so gorgeous you can make pendants or whatever with. Okay, so you want to lay the Color Me Magic Transfer paper right on to the clay. I like to give it a little roll with my roller, maybe move it around a little, but mostly what I'm trying to do here is to make sure there are no air pockets in between the clay and the transfer paper. Now this transfer paper dissolves in water. So watch when I have a bowl of water here, and normally I'll do this over a faucet, but I always start the process by dripping water onto the design. I just think it works best when you just do it like this, a little slow, No rush here. Just drip it. Let the water kind of... What's happening here is there's a cellulose in there, and the cellulose dissolves with water. So what we're doing is we're helping the cellulose to dissolve without touching it. So we're not really, you know, affecting it at this point. And you can totally see it coming apart from the clay. You can see it starting to like become pulpy. And that's what you're looking for. So I've got it on there. In fact, if I lean it on its side, it'll probably start to roll off some of it. But I'm going to dunk it under the water here, and I'm just going to swish it around. But you can, what I would recommend doing this is under the faucet, because just a light stream, and you just want to dunk it until you get most of the paper off. You can coax it a little. But what I like to do is just get most of the paper off as I go, that first time, okay? It's a little wet here. So as you can see, it's transferred on there beautifully. You don't really want to touch it at this point. You want to let it dry, okay? Because the more you touch it, the more chance you can mess it up. So what you do is you let it dry there, and when it dries, there might be a little bit of paper you missed, okay? But you can then just rinse it one more time, and the rest of the paper will come off, and your design won't. Because by letting it dry after you first initially do the transfer, it lets it set onto the clay. So don't be a fanatic about getting all the paper off the first time, is what I'm saying. Get what you can and then let it dry. And then once it's dry, if you notice there's paper, you can just come and you can blot it, or you can go right under the faucet again. It won't be as easy to ruin any of your design. So that's all there is to it, really. And at this point, you can use cookie cutters, you can make pendants, and you can color it in with your markers. And it's so simple and so fun, and really, you know, the sky is the limit with this technique. So color